What's up, guys? Today I'm going to be making the chocolate eclairs from Alton Brown's Good Eats Reloaded. If you don't follow Good Eats and Food Network TV as much as I do, Good Eats was a show hosted by Alton Brown that ran from like the late 90s to the early 2010s. I can't remember exactly what year, but roughly that range, in which Alton Brown went through recipes and explained the science behind them, and was generally regarded, and is still generally regarded, as one of the better cooking shows ever. Here recently, he's done a thing called Good Eats Reloaded, in which he goes back and revisits some of his recipes from the original run of Good Eats and tweaks things or changes them around, or in some cases completely changes the recipe. In this one, there's not really a huge amount of difference from the original. The filling is a pastry cream instead of I think he used vanilla pudding in the original recipe, but the updated one is a proper pastry cream. The choux pastry itself, the pâte à choux, is I think it's actually completely untouched and is generally regarded as a pretty good recipe for choux pastry. So he redid the chocolate glaze, which now includes like some coffee and a couple of other things. So that's what we're going to make, because apparently I hate myself and my diet. I'm going to start by doing the pastry cream, because that needs to cool and will totally keep for a decent amount of time, so I'm not super worried about it. I'm going to go ahead and have that ready. Then we'll make the pastry, and while the pastries themselves are cooking and cooling, then I'll do like the chocolate glaze that goes on top. So that's pretty much my plan of attack. This will be the first time I've ever made choux pastry, so that's kind of an unknown. Otherwise, it looks pretty straightforward. I've definitely made pastry creams before, and they're not super difficult, especially after you've made a few. And I don't expect melting chocolate to really screw me up. Because I said that, I'm going to make sweet scrambled eggs and broken chocolate sauce, but that's okay. Either way, it'll make for good video. So let's do it. Okay, we're ready to go on the pastry cream. I have milk and salt in a saucier. I have the eggs and sugar over here in a mixing bowl, actually the bowl of my stand mixer. I have some vanilla, I have some vanilla that I can put in, but it's really just in the bottle. And then I have some cubed butter sitting over here, warming up to room temperature so that it will integrate easily. I decided to let the stand mixer handle the whisking of the eggs and sugar. I personally think this qualifies as thickened, pale, and foamy, as per the directions. So I will proceed. Sifted cornstarch is in, and I'm going to whisk to combine. I'm going to consider that pretty well combined and set it aside and start on the milk. The basic idea here is going to be to warm up the milk, use a little bit to temper the eggs, and then put all the eggs into the hot milk. So that's what I'm going to be doing, and hopefully not making sweet scrambled eggs. We'll see. Okay, I'd say we're pretty close to a bare simmer, and it's time to temper the eggs. We're going to put some of this hot milk into these eggs right here as I whisk the hell out of them and hope that they don't turn into scrambled eggs. If done correctly, this will make it to where the hot milk and eggs combine together and they like form a smooth like pastry cream kind of thing, instead of, like I said, sweet scrambled eggs, which is always a danger when you're doing any sauce that starts like this. So that's simmery enough, so I'm going to attempt this maneuver and hope that it goes well. I'm going to kill the heat quite a bit, and I'm going to start whisking. Do like a third of this, whisk the hell out of it so it doesn't have time to turn into scrambled eggs. Okay, no, it's pretty good. I don't see any big chunks or anything. And I'm going to go back the opposite direction and put these now tempered eggs into my milk mixture while also stirring and whisking the hell out of it. Okay, it looks like that was pretty successful, and that is smooth. So now we just wait for this to thicken. Once it starts to bubble, and those are bubbles, so we can pull it off the heat and through a sieve. into our bowl over here. Alright. I need a bigger bowl for this, but I'm an idiot, so I got the smallest one humanly possible so that I have to use 2 hands. I don't catch any lumpiness that managed to make it through my expert egg tempering process. Hold on. Grab the whisk, grab the rest of it out of this pan. Okay. Give it a shake. Anything that doesn't make it through there can F right off. I'm gonna call that good. I'd rather have a little bit less than have big lumps. So, come over here. Okay, now I'm gonna whisk in the chunks of butter. This is 1 at a time, but I'm gonna go more like 2 because I cubed it particularly small. And that looks completely gone. Grab a few more. Basically, I think 2 to 4 of my cubes make normal cube size. So that's what I'm going with. I'm just whisking them until the cubes of butter totally disappear. Okay, should be it. I'm going to add a teaspoon of vanilla extract. So I get these last couple clumps of butter out. Okay, I think that's good. That looks very smooth to me. I don't see any hiding chunks of butter or anything, so I'll grab me a teaspoon. And combine the 2. Nope. Alright, say that is combined. Okay, at this point I'm actually going to stop for the day because it's like almost 5 o'clock and I'm hungry and I'm probably not going to want to deal with the rest of this after dinner. I kind of waited too late to start it because I was cleaning up the kitchen and doing dishes and trying to make it look half-assed presentable. So what I'm going to do is exactly what the recipe suggests, that this can be cooled down to room temperature and then put cling film directly onto the surface of it so that it doesn't form a skin, and then put in an airtight container in the refrigerator for up to a week. In my case, it's only going to be probably less than 24 hours because early tomorrow afternoon we will make the pâte à choux and we will make the chocolate glaze and we'll put everything together. But for now, I'm going to stash this in the fridge. Okay, I am back. I am wearing the same shirt, definitely for continuity and not because I was too lazy to change. And I'm about to make the pâte à choux. I have over here in my saucier, I have some water, sugar, salt, and butter. And then ready to go in, I have 5 3/4 ounces of bread flour. Once this is done and it's cooling in the bowl of my stand mixer, I'm going to get my eggs together, finish that, and then hand it to Daisy because she is the master of actually making things look good. So yeah, that's my plan. Okay, I'm going to dump the flour in and try to make this happen. I can't camera and do that at the same time, so I'll be back in a second. Okay. I don't know about you, but if you were to ask me, does this look like all flour is incorporated and the dough has formed a ball? I would say yes, so I'm putting it in the stand mixer. 4 eggs and 1 white, which is, the instructions said 4 eggs and 2 whites, but that got me to a cup, so screw it. Not gonna lie, I was dubious about that when I first started putting the eggs in and it started looking like Velveeta shells and cheese. But once you get them all in and let the mixer run for a minute on low, it actually does smooth out into a nice looking like batter. I am impressed. Daisy's contemplating piping.
I'll just do a little cut there. Can't exactly get it started, which sucks. Yeah, that's not super big.
Okay, this is initially going to be a test batch of 5 because it looks like our tip is a lot smaller. These don't look like they're going to puff up enough to be fillable eclairs. So we're going to do a test batch real quick and see what happens. Okay, so we thought that our little eclairs were going to be too small. Our piping tip is too small. So we went ahead and did a small batch of them and went ahead and baked them. And I would say that our initial feelings of them being too small were definitely correct. So we're gonna probably just use a cut, like gallon zipper freezer bag and try a do-over. Luckily we didn't waste the entire batch. We only did 5 very small ones, so let's see. Second attempt went much better. You definitely want to make them bigger. I'm waiting for them to cool just a tiny bit, and I'm going to poke holes to let steam out. I have to say, I think that is my favorite dessert that I've made so far. Probably tied with the Serious Eats brownies. Those are super good. Both the brownies and the eclairs. But yeah, the eclairs are fantastic. The recipe works like exactly right. I love the chocolate glaze. That little bit of coffee in it makes it really like balances everything really well. And just the eclairs overall, like nothing is like too super sickly sweet. So it's actually like a nice dessert to have as opposed to something that's like 96% sugar. It's nice. It's, you know, a decent balance of complex flavors. I would say this is honestly a pretty easy recipe other than the piping. The only thing that saved my ass on the piping was that Daisy is a pastry master, and she got it worked out even though none of our tips were actually the correct size. But she figured it out because she's awesome at stuff like that. So, aside from that though, pretty much just follow the directions and everything comes together. Yeah, honestly, fantastic recipe. If you have anything that you would like to see us try, a recipe you want us to try out, either something you've been wanting to make or something you made and it didn't work out, or one of your recipes and you want to see somebody else make it, send me an email and we will cook that next because we're looking for new ideas. But I think that about wraps it up for the reloaded chocolate eclairs, and yeah, definitely make these. They are fantastic. Later.